Welcome to How to Be a Couple with me, your host, Giuliano Gramado. When someone tells you that they're married, what is one of the first questions that you ask them? I know for me that it's always been, well, how long have you been married? It's just kind of like a default thing to ask, right? And when someone hasn't been married a long time, it's like, oh, well, you got a lot to learn, blah, blah, blah. Or when someone's been married for a really long time, you're like, wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. How do you do it? Right? Something like that. The point is that we find it, for some reason, we like to measure relationships in their length. And, when someone's been married a long time, we tend to applaud it, right? Like in that scenario, you ask someone, what, you've been married? How long you been married? Oh, 40 years. Whoa. Wow. Congratulations. Right? We treat it as if the length actually means something. Now, it doesn't mean the relationship doesn't mean anything, but it is not indicative of the quality, right? When someone says they've been married for 30 years, you could say, wow, congratulations. And maybe you're right, right? Maybe they have a great relationship. And you could say, oh, man, sorry to hear that. But you could also be right, right? Like you have a 50-50 shot. Like maybe that person has a terrible relationship and it's terrible that they've been in it that long. Or maybe they have a great relationship and that's why they're still together. You just don't know. The point is that length is not a good measurement of success in a relationship. It's not. What you want to be measuring is quality. Now, of course, that's not like, a question you're going to be asking a stranger or someone you find out that they're in a relationship. But the idea is to shift our perspective around what a successful relationship actually is. Because being together for a long time is not indicative of quality. You can be together for a really long time and have a terrible marriage. So what does that mean then? Right? That means that like our goal should be different. And we're going to talk about that. And also, I'm going to give you some questions to be able to ask, like to figure out what the quality of your relationship actually is. And I'm not going to tell you what to do, right? I'm sharing with you here, like my take on marriage and my take on relationships that has helped me to be happy and for me and my wife to have a fantastic relationship, better than any I've ever seen. Um, so, you can take this information, do with it what you will. But for me, I've decided to shift my goal. And I'm going to share with you a couple questions you can ask to determine the quality of your relationship instead of just being like, hey, wow, we've been together, 10 years. Amazing. Good for us. We're doing it. We're enduring it. Your relationship shouldn't be something that you just endure, right? It should be something that you enjoy. It's not surprising that this is what we're doing. It's basically what we've been taught, right? This is the culture. When you look at marriage, success is based on how long you stay together. Like I said, when you're talking to somebody, if you find out they've been married 60 years, right? You're like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." Right? We applaud it. The the end goal is always, right? This is the vow that everyone always makes, till death do us part, right? And so you go, "Oh, okay, so success means being with this person until I die." So that's what I'm saying. I don't blame people for having that perspective. I had that same perspective myself. And of course, it's in everyone's vows. Maybe not everyone, right? But most people's vows. When you are in a relationship for a long time, even if you're not enjoying it, it also feels good, right? Like, because when people say how long have you been together? Oh, this many years, and they applaud you, that feels good. But ultimately, the amount of time that you have been together doesn't equal fulfillment. There are plenty of people who've been married for a really long time and their marriages are something to be tolerated, right? It's something that they're just surviving. And it's not something that you want to be a part of, right? If you look and you're like, do I want my relationship to be like that? No, you don't. It's possible to be together for a long time and have a great relationship. But the problem with setting the goal of it being a certain length, i.e., right, till death do us part, is that you are optimizing and incentivizing for staying in the relationship, not for having a good relationship, having a great one. And it seems like it's not a big deal, right? Like when I talk about having a different goal, instead of the goal being, a long marriage, having the goal be a good marriage, you're like, well, what's the difference? And it's like, well, what you're prioritizing actually matters. The length of the relationship should really just be a byproduct of the quality of the relationship, right? If I have a bad relationship, then it's not going to last long. And if I have a good relationship, then it's going to last long. It doesn't make sense to flip it around, right? And you can do that by saying like, "Hey, I don't want my relationship to last long." Like, what? That would be a weird goal for someone to have, right? So but the same applies to a long relationship. It's like, "Oh, I want a long relationship. I want to be with this person till I die." It's like, well, that's weird. Like, that doesn't make any sense. The length of the relationship is just a byproduct of its quality. Okay. So when you're focused on staying, right? When you're focused on the length of the relationship, the quality of the relationship by definition goes on the back burner. And when you do this, it keeps people in this kind of, it's almost like this low grade tension because you're constantly trying to avoid getting divorced, right? And you might not be thinking that consciously, but subconsciously, again, your goal is to be with this person until you die. So here's the problem, right? When that is your goal, what it means is that feeling like leaving, right? Like if you're like, I don't like this, I'm not enjoying this, what you frame that as is failure, right? You look at it and you go, "Ah, man, I'm so tired of this," or "Man, I'm so frustrated, but I can't leave. I can't leave," right? I would be breaking my vow. It would be a bit, I would be such a failure. Our marriage would be a failure. And I'm not encouraging you to get divorced, but my point is instead of judging your feeling of saying that you're not happy, right? And you're judging it and you're going, "Oh, it's terrible that I feel this way." And that's the problem, right? Instead of being able to just address it and go, "Hey, why do I feel this way?" Right? It's just information to use, right? Your feelings are an indicator of what's going on in your relationship. So if you go, "Oh man, why am I feeling this way?" Right? You allow yourself to ask that question when your goal is not to be together until you die. Because if the goal is to be together until you die, any thought of leaving is a moral failure. But if your goal is to have a great relationship, then being unhappy is actually helpful, right? Recognizing that you're unhappy is actually helpful because you get to go, okay, cool. What needs to change? Right? It gives you information to make the relationship better instead of something to feel guilty over. And look, it's just a simple fact. If people being together, if promising to be together until you died worked, then having a great relationship would be the norm. You would just see great relationships left and right, happy couples. You wouldn't see the fact that half of all marriages end in divorce, right? And that's, I always point to that number. It's like, hey, if half of all marriages end in divorce, then something is wrong, right? Because a lot of what I talk about is just like, what? People don't agree with what I'm saying. They think that it's like, oh, you're trying to be in this modern relationship where divorce is always on the table. No, and they pride themselves on always being together, being together till death do us part and keeping their vow. And it's like, I'm not saying that there isn't value in having integrity as a person, right? Of course, right? Saying you're going to do something and doing it is great, but that shouldn't be the only reason that you stay together. And again, I don't really care about what is ultimately quote unquote right or wrong. What I care about is what works, right? If you can sit here and say, "Oh, I'm doing the right thing because I made this vow and I'm staying with," okay, fine. Are you happy? Are you guys happy? Are your children happy? Right, my wife and I were watching this show the other day, and this couple was like fighting, and the kids are in the back seat, and I was just sitting there like, "Oh my gosh, that would be so awful." But it was just a good reminder about this, right? Like, oh yeah, like it's not just about you. It's not just about the fact that you made this vow that you promised you're going to be together until death do us part. There are so many people involved in this, right? It's your feelings, your spouse's feelings, your children's feelings. It's not fair to put people through all of that just because you promised you were going to be together. Now again, what I'm not saying go get divorced. What I'm saying is stop making it seem like getting divorced is a problem, because as soon as you stop viewing it as a problem, congratulations. Now you can actually talk about it. Hey, actually think about getting divorced because I'm not happy about this. What could we change to have a better relationship? This is the idea that I want you to kind of reframe in your mind, is that the success of your relationship should not be measured in time. It should not be measured in the amount of years that you have been together. What it should be measured in is your experience. How good is it? You shouldn't be asking, like, how long have we been able to last, right? But how good is our relationship? How great is it right now? Now, obviously, there's going to be ups and downs in your relationship, okay? But you're not optimizing for the peaks, right? You're not like, oh, we have such great time, right? And just optimizing to make it so amazing. What you're trying to do is prevent these bottoms, right? Of it being terrible. Like when I ask that question, how good is this today? Right? It's not just like literally just today, because of course you're going to have, issues every once in a while or something. You're not going to feel happy or whatever. That's fine. But on the whole, how is the relationship? Are you guys happy? Are you moving in the right direction? The idea is you want to shift from forever thinking to quality thinking. So here are the three questions that I mentioned earlier that you can ask yourself and determine the actual quality of your relationship. Okay. Question number one is, if nothing about our relationship changed for the next 5 years, would we be excited or disappointed? This is a good question because it lets you know, like, hey, am I just tolerating what's going on right now? Or am I actually happy? Right? Because if 5 years go by and nothing changes, you'd be like, are you serious? This hasn't changed? Again, the whole idea is just to shine a spotlight on the quality of your relationship right now. Are you just enduring it, hoping that things are going to change? Or are you actually enjoying it? If your relationship in the next 5 years it's exactly the same, you're excited about that. Oh man, that would be amazing. Okay, great. Maybe your relationship is in a great spot. Question number two is, do I feel more like myself in this relationship or less? When the quality of the relationship is not great, what that is almost like a misalignment. Okay. So again, these questions are not meant to be like earth shattering. The idea is just for them to shine a spotlight on the quality of your relationship. So in the relationship, do you feel more like yourself? Do you feel like you are supported? Do you feel like you're growing? Do you feel like you're becoming the person that you're meant to be? Question number three. Okay, this one's gonna be a tough one. Okay. If I met my partner today, let's say if we met each other today as we are now, would we choose each other again? That one kind of hurts, right? It hurts because you're like, I actually don't know. But look, again, this is not meant to be like threatening questions, okay, and to push you towards divorce. It's about being honest about where your relationship is right now. Okay, so don't view it as a threat, just view it as more of like a diagnostic type of question. Okay, shining a light on the quality of your relationship. And this is a good thing. Okay, when you focus on the quality of your relationship, you stop trying to like just last, right? Just to get to the finish line. And what you start doing instead is making the relationship better right now. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be together a long time. What I'm saying is that that is only a byproduct of having a great relationship. And having a great relationship is based on your feelings. How do you feel right now? And if you feel good and your partner feels good, that means you have a great relationship. Okay? So if you optimize for you and your partner's feelings, your relationship will last long. But stop making that the goal. Okay? When you start focusing on quality, you can actually address things as they come up. The reason why this is my philosophy on this is that the reason why people end up in these terrible, messy divorces is because they don't address stuff in the beginning. And the reason they don't address it is because why? They promise, well, I'm going to be with this person until I die. Okay. And so instead of fixing stuff, they just focus on enduring it. But if you're focused on having a good marriage, you start to address these things before they become big problems. And the cool thing is that you shift your perspective from obligation, right? Think about what I just said. Like, I have to be with this person to I get to be with this person. I'm here because I want to be, not just because I made a promise X amount of years ago. And like I said before, ironically, when you focus on quality, the length of your marriage usually takes care of itself. So don't wait until things get bad. Okay. Evaluate your relationship right now. Ask better questions. Stop asking, how long can we last? How long am I going to be in this relationship? Can I make it to the end? And start asking, how good can we make this relationship? Because I promise you can have an amazing relationship. By the way, if you are looking to get some relationship coaching, if you want some personalized help from me, at this moment, I'm not currently taking on new clients, but I do have a waiting list going. So if you want to be notified when a slot opens up and get a little bit more information on it, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at howtobeacouple.co, and I'll get you on the wait list and I'll let you know when a slot opens up. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you next time.